Morning rounds had already passed when I arrived at the hospital the next day. Marcus sat propped against pillows, looking marginally better than yesterday, still pale but more present, flipping through a photography magazine with restless energy that suggested improved condition. "You came back," he observed, setting aside the magazine. "Not accusatory, just noting. Did you think I wouldn't?" I settled into the visitor's chair. My father can be persuasive when he believes he's protecting me. So he knew about our conversation. "He thinks I'm bad for your health." Marcus sighed. "He thinks anything not directly advancing my career is bad for me. The autoimmune condition just gives him new ammunition." "But he's not entirely wrong," I countered. "You've been pushing yourself, ignoring symptoms. If that's because of me, it's because I'm stubborn and hate limitations," he interrupted. "Long before you, I was ignoring medical advice. Ask Tyler. He's been lecturing me for years." A nurse entered with medication, temporarily halting our conversation. After she left, Marcus shifted carefully to face me more directly. "My father means well," he said, "but he doesn't get to decide who matters in my life. I just don't want to make things harder for you." His expression softened. "Having you in my life isn't what's hard, Eliot. It's what makes everything else bearable." The simple declaration caught me off guard with its sincerity. "Dr. Sharma says I can be discharged tomorrow if my numbers stay stable," he continued. "Limited activity for at least a week, but I can attend modified classes." "That's good. It means I'll miss the first showcase planning session." Frustration edged his voice. 3 years working toward this, and now. "They'll accommodate your situation," I assured him. "Maybe." He didn't sound convinced. "The timing couldn't be worse. This semester determines post-graduation opportunities." His concern reminded me of my own suspended projects, Rivera's final assessment looming while I'd been consumed with personal drama. "You should go," Marcus said, apparently reading my expression. "You have Rivera's class today, right?" I nodded reluctantly. "I could skip." "Don't." "She notices absences." He reached for my hand. "I'm mostly sleeping anyway. The new meds are like tranquilizer darts." "I'll come back after class," I promised. "Bring your sketchbook," he requested. "Show me what you're working on." Walking toward the arts building, I realized I had nothing to show. My final project existed only in scattered concepts and half-formed sketches. While Marcus had been managing health crises and I'd been having existential relationship doubts, the semester had started without us. Rivera's classroom felt simultaneously familiar and foreign as I slipped into a seat. She entered with characteristic dramatic timing, scanning the room with laser focus that noted every absence. "Welcome back," she announced. "For those expecting creative coddling after break, adjust expectations immediately. Final showcase preparation begins now, not when inspiration strikes or deadlines loom." Her gaze found mine briefly, something like disappointment flashing before she continued outlining the semester's assessment structure. Senior portfolios would be evaluated first, with exhibition space allocated accordingly. First years with exceptional development might earn smaller showcases. After class, I tried to slip out unnoticed, but Rivera's voice cut through the departing crowd. "Chin. A moment." I approached her desk with trepidation. "Your vulnerability piece showed promise before break," she said without preamble. "Where does it stand now?" "Still developing," I hedged. That's generous language for neglected. Her assessment was ruthless but accurate. "What's blocking you?" "Just life complications." Artists have life complications. Work continues regardless. She studied me with unsettling perception. "You're distracted. The Westfield situation, I presume." My surprise must have shown, because she sighed impatiently. "Faculty talk, Chin. Hospital admissions of scholarship students trigger administrative notifications." "He's improving," I offered lamely. "But his work shows exceptional promise." She began organizing papers with methodical precision. "As does yours when you actually produce it." I should have accepted the dismissal, but something compelled me to ask, How do you separate personal struggles from creative work? Her hand stilled. When she looked up, her expression had shifted from professional assessment to something more complex. You don't, she said finally. You transmute them. I don't understand. She checked her watch. My office. 10 minutes. Bring whatever pathetic scraps constitute your current project. 20 minutes later, I sat in Rivera's office while she examined my pitiful collection of concept sketches. Her space reflected her personality, organized chaos, every element purposefully placed despite apparent disorder. These show conceptual regression, she declared, setting aside my work. You've retreated to technical safety, abandoning the vulnerability direction that showed potential. I've been distracted, I admitted, by Westfield's health crisis. Not a question. Partly. And by wondering if I'm helping or hurting him by being in his life. She leaned back in her chair, studying me with unexpected intensity. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. The abrupt disclosure stunned me into silence. Treatment was brutal, she continued matter-of-factly. Surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. I lost hair, appetite, energy, and temporarily, my artistic focus. I didn't know, I managed. Few do. It's not relevant to most educational interactions. She gestured toward a sculpture on her shelf, abstract but suggesting a body fragmented and reconstructed. During recovery, I created my reconstruction series. Not despite illness, but through direct dialogue with it. She rose, moving to a cabinet where she retrieved a portfolio. Inside were sketches unlike her published work, raw, sometimes violent expressions of pain and fragmentation. These never exhibited publicly, she explained. They weren't created for external validation but for internal processing. The finished pieces that followed were different, refined, abstracted, universalized. But these were necessary predecessors. They're powerful, I said honestly. They're honest, she corrected. Which appears to be your current struggle. Her perception was uncomfortably accurate. I'm worried about creating something too personal, too revealing. Art that risks nothing reveals nothing, she stated bluntly. Your technical foundation is solid, Shin. What's missing is courage. It's not just about the art, I admitted. It's about what happens when people see it, see me. Understanding crossed her features. You fear judgment more than failure. Maybe. She closed the portfolio carefully. When I was recovering, a fellow artist sent me a quote from Frida Kahlo. At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. It applies equally to art and life. Did your experience change your work permanently? I asked. It transformed it, she clarified. Pain either diminishes or deepens us, Shin. The choice lies in how we respond. Her words followed me across campus, echoing with uncomfortable relevance. I had been retreating from vulnerability, in art and with Marcus, fearing inadequacy more than failure. I passed the gallery building, noticing an exhibition installation in progress. Through the glass, I spotted Tyler directing the placement of display panels. On impulse, I entered. He noticed me immediately, expression guarded. Eliot, looking for Marcus's showcase space. No, actually. Looking for you. Surprise replaced wariness. Why? To understand something. You've been Marcus's friend longest. You know his condition, his family situation, everything. Generally accurate, he acknowledged cautiously. So tell me honestly, am I bad for him? Tyler's eyebrows rose. Dr. Westfield got to you. He made some valid points. From his perspective, Tyler set down his clipboard, which has always been exclusively focused on Marcus's career trajectory, not his happiness. But Marcus's health has been cyclical since diagnosis, Tyler interrupted. The treatments help, but flare-ups happen regardless of external factors. Correlation isn't causation. But, do you want to know what I actually see? Tyler's expression turned unexpectedly earnest. Before you, Marcus was achieving everything his father wanted: awards, recognition, professional connections. He was also increasingly detached, going through prescribed motions without genuine engagement. What do you mean? He stopped bringing his personal camera everywhere. Stopped exploring abandoned places for pleasure rather than portfolio building. Started creating what was expected rather than what moved him. Tyler's assessment carried the weight of long observation. Until you. Me. The Lighthouse Studio? Tyler raised an eyebrow. He hadn't been there in months before showing you. His personal projects were gathering dust while he focused exclusively on marketable work. This perspective contradicted everything Dr. Westfield had implied. But his father said, his father wants Marcus to become Alexander Westfield 2.0, which was happening until you disrupted the programming. Tyler's bluntness carried no malice, just conviction. Yes, Marcus pushes himself too hard with you around. But that's because you remind him there are things worth pushing for beyond professional achievement. Did you tell his father this? Yesterday, actually. Tyler looked grimly satisfied when he suggested limiting your hospital visits for Marcus's recovery. I explained rather emphatically that you're likely the reason Marcus hasn't abandoned art altogether under the weight of his condition and expectations. The revelation left me momentarily speechless. I didn't know. Because Marcus doesn't advertise his struggles. But those closest to him see them. Tyler checked his watch. I need to finish this installation. Are we done with the emotional revelation portion of the afternoon? Almost. I managed a smile at his characteristic deflection. Thank you. For defending me. For seeing what I couldn't. Just don't waste it, he advised cryptically. As I left the gallery, Rivera's words about transmuting personal struggles into creative expression collided with Tyler's insights about Marcus's renewed engagement. Something crystallized in my understanding, not just about my relationship with Marcus, but about the art I needed to create. Instead of returning to the hospital immediately, I detoured to the studio space Rivera had assigned for my final project. The empty room had intimidated me before, its blank walls demanding confidence I hadn't felt. Now I saw possibility. I began sketching rapidly, ideas flowing with sudden clarity. Not just a static piece about vulnerability but an installation about connection despite barriers. Physical illness, emotional fear, external pressure. I worked through the evening, losing track of time as concept became composition. When my phone rang hours later, I was surrounded by preliminary sketches and material tests. Where are you? Marcus sounded concerned. I thought you were coming after class. I'm in the studio, I explained. I lost track of time. I'm working on something important. Must be, he observed. You sound different. I had some revelations today, I admitted. About art. About us. Should I be worried? The opposite. I surveyed the emerging installation plans. I think I finally understand what Rivera's been pushing me toward. And what your father doesn't see. Which is, that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the foundation of everything meaningful. I hesitated. I need to ask you something. Something I should have asked instead of assuming. I'm listening. What do you want, Marcus? Not what your father wants for you, or what your doctors think is best, or even what I think might help. What do you want? The silence stretched so long I wondered if we'd lost connection. I want a future where my condition doesn't define every decision, he finally said. Where my work matters because it says something true, not because it carries my last name. And I want you in that future, not as a caretaker or burden bearer, but as my partner in navigating whatever comes. The simple honesty of his answer filled some empty space inside me I hadn't recognized until that moment. I want that too, I said. All of it. Even the complicated parts? The health uncertainty, the family drama, the inevitable bad days. Especially those, I confirmed, because they're part of the whole picture, not separate from it. After we disconnected, I returned to my emerging installation with renewed purpose. Throughout the night, I worked without pause, translating conceptual understanding into physical form. The piece took shape as a walk-through installation. Viewers would move through transparent layers depicting fragments of connection, each perspective revealing different aspects of a shared journey. I incorporated photographic elements, some actual images from Marcus's camera, others my novice attempts, alongside mixed media components. Morning light filtered through the studio windows when I finally stepped back, exhausted but certain. This wasn't just an assignment or showcase submission but something essential, art that spoke truth I hadn't fully articulated even to myself. Rivera found me there, asleep among materials when she arrived for early studio rounds. Chin. Her voice cut through exhausted fog. Productive night? I straightened, disoriented but oddly peaceful. I think I found it. What you've been pushing me toward. She examined the installation framework and concept boards with unreadable expression. It's about connection despite barriers, I explained. How relationships exist in layers, perspective changing what's visible but not what's real. And the Westfield photographic elements? She asked, noting Marcus's distinctive images incorporated into several panels. He gave me his first camera, I said. Taught me to see differently. She nodded slowly. It's conceptually sound. Technically ambitious, possibly beyond your current skill level. I'll manage. Yes, she agreed unexpectedly. I believe you will. She made a notation on her clipboard. I've assigned you provisional showcase space. What? But the senior evaluations haven't even. I recognize developing potential, Chin. She cut off my protest. This installation belongs in the showcase, assuming execution matches concept. After she left, I sat among my materials, simultaneously exhausted and energized. What had begun as academic exercise had transformed into something personal yet universal, not just about Marcus and me, but about how all meaningful connections require embracing vulnerability rather than armoring against it. I gathered essential components before heading to the hospital. Whatever came next in our complicated story, I needed Marcus to see what I'd finally understood, that depth of field in photography and life isn't about perfect clarity throughout the frame but about choosing what to bring into focus while acknowledging the beautiful blur of everything surrounding it.